Hello friends, good to see you, all of you, after a long while, a long break. So in the next few episodes we are going to talk about marriage, dating, love and relationship and so many vital issues of the youth. So if you are not subscribed to my channel yet, do so and stay tuned to the further episodes. Today let's talk about the purpose of marriage. Have you ever thought about this? Why do you even get married? I want to ask this question to people who got married already or waiting to get married. We all think, okay, certain age comes, 30 or 25 or 26, everybody gets married, so I also get married. So people who already got married, this question, I don't know whether how many of you would even really thought about it. Why did they even get married? So I want to bring in four of those points from the biblical perspective. Number one, marriage is to provide companionship and mutual help and comfort. So why do we say so? So you remember Adam and Eve, they were created they were the first people to be created by God. When Adam was created, he was all alone and he was in the Garden of Eden, and there's so many animals, so many birds and so many things to see and eat, and he was enjoying the place, Garden of Eden. But he was all alone. He was not satisfied by the companionship of all the animals and birds. So God thought, it's not good that man should be alone. I'll make him a helper fit for him. That's what we read in Genesis 2:18. So he takes a rib from Adam after putting him to sleep, and he creates Eve. And he brings Eve to Adam, and that was the first marriage that was ordained in the history of humanity. So Eve was there to help, to comfort, to be as one with Adam. And so the idea of marriage is to provide companionship and mutual help and comfort. That's what even Jesus is quoting from Genesis in Matthew 19:4-6 we read. Therefore man leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife, and two shall become one flesh. So they are no longer two but one flesh. What therefore God has joined together, let not man separate. So marriage is a union of two people, male and female, who are created in the image of God, coming together as one flesh. It's also a place, marriage is a relationship where one could actually complement each other. So in many ways I think of our marriage, in many ways I am not a perfect person. I have my limitations. Certain things I just cannot do. But so many times I admire my wife and how she does things. I mean, even if you take an example, I'm not a very organized person, or I'm not a very perfect person. I don't attempt to make things perfect. But she's a perfectionist, and she makes things very beautifully, and we kind of complement each other. The things that I am not good at, and she is good at, and that's how God brings two people together to complement each other. So the purpose of marriage, the first purpose of marriage is to provide helper and companionship to one another, the mutual help to one another. The second purpose of marriage is to bring up godly children. So that's what we read in Malachi chapter 2 verse 15. Did he not make them one with the portion of the Spirit in their union? And what was the one God seeking? Godly offspring. So we are given children so that we can bring them up in the knowledge of God, and also ultimately bring them to Christ so that we can further the kingdom of God. We are to bring them up in a Christian values and system so that they can be a role model for the fellow citizens. Another important purpose of marriage is to protect ourselves from sexual temptations. We live in this world, we are easily trapped, we can easily be tempted and fall for sexual sins. So marriage actually protects us from falling from those sins. Having a husband or wife gives us a security of having a committed sexual relationship within the boundary of marriage. So any sexual relationship, we know that any temptations or sexual relationship outside marriage will often lead to distractions in the relationship, emotionally, physically, mentally, as well as spiritually. It actually takes us away from God, and it's very, very difficult for us to come back. So within the boundary of marriage, we can enjoy what God has given, that is having a committed sexual relationship with one another. Finally, marriage is a beautiful picture of the relationship between Christ and His church. The body of believers, that is us, actually collectively called that we are bride, the church, and Jesus Christ is called bridegroom. What do? He actually gave His life. He shed blood on the cross so that He can make us holy. So marriage is also a beautiful picture of this relationship between Jesus Christ and the church. So the husband also ought to sacrificially love his wife like how Jesus Christ did on the cross. That is why the sexual sin becomes a big issue. God is completely faithful to us and calls us to be completely faithful to Him and to our spouse. So marriage is thought to be a holy institution because it was created in the beginning and it has to be honored. So I told you about 4 purposes of marriage. One is to provide mutual helper and companionship. Number 2 is to produce godly children. Number 3, to protect us from sexual temptation. Number 4, marriage is a beautiful picture of relationship between Christ and the church. So remember this. The next episode we'll talk about a little bit about other issues relating to relationships and dating and love, and you might have so many questions. I'm trying to answer all those questions in the next episode. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye.